Well, up next, we do have a very special program. It's also related to teacher development. So, we will talk a little bit on the continuous mentorship in teachers. Some of you might know her, and some of you might be calling her your mentor at the moment. We have none other than Miss Barbara, the lead trainer for Mentor to You. Now, unfortunately, we won't be able to have her live with us today, but we managed to record a short conversation, and I hope that this conversation will help you to understand a little bit better on why is it important to have a continuous mentorship. So please enjoy the interview. Hello, good afternoon, Miss Barbara.
Hello, Jason. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Great.
So glad for you to join us. I know that you can't be with us in person during the webinar itself, but we are more than happy to have you right now recording this session with us so that we can hear some of your thoughts about our topic of discussion, which is the continuous mentorship for teachers. So are you excited? Are you getting ready to start?
Yes. This is a great topic to discuss, and I'm so happy that we can really talk about this and just have this little chat.
Great. Now, just a little bit of context. This is for the viewers out there. Miss Barbara, she's an accomplished teacher trainer with almost, well, not almost, with over 40 years of teaching experience. Yeah.
Yes,
so
over 40, well over 40.
Well, and the funny thing is that you are still a teacher mentor, even with all those years of experience. So my first question to you is, what drives you, to be still mentoring teachers? And, as of now, you have about 500 teachers under Mentor to You.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's really amazing.
Right.
So maybe you can share with us a little bit what drives you, what motivates you, what's the reasoning behind for you to do all this?
Right, sure. Well, I think it boils down to simple passion for teaching and having the teacher's heart and being able, after all these years of experience, actually being able to give back to the new breed of teachers, to the younger teachers, the things that I have learned over the years that I can now really impart to new teachers. And I love how they share with me the things that are going on in their classroom and, how to deal with this or how to deal with that. And so we just kind of have a community discussion, and I'm able to put in some pointers there that may help them. And so I'm really glad to be able to pass down, some of these things. Plus, for me, it's ongoing. Because with me still teaching, after every class, no joke, I always am going over what just happened in the class, what went well, and I write notes. What do I want to change for the next time? And I jot that down because it's constantly learning and changing and developing. So I'm happy to pass on some of these tips to the younger teachers.
That's great. Like, I love how you point out that you always have a reflection session after every class. And I think that's a trait that, a lot of teachers, need to have after their class as well. And just by you doing that, by modeling that to your mentees, that they can learn this trait and pick up these things.
Right. And if I don't do it right away, it's gone. So immediately after every class, I'm always writing down, taking notes, and so that I can improve for the next time.
Yeah. Now, I do have another question for you. Well, this is very related to what you're doing right now. So you're specifically mentoring teachers at the moment. So my question to you is, do you see a need for continuous mentorship? And why do you think that?
That's an absolutely great question. And I would have to say yes, with a few exclamation marks after that, because in this day and age in which we are living, especially now with the pandemic and all that we've gone through in the past year and a half, Oh my goodness, education has changed so much, so much.
That I
So,
agree.
yes, there's always new things that we are all learning now. When all of a sudden we weren't in the classroom anymore and everything was online. Wow. I mean, the quick response that we all had to have to learning all these new platforms so that we could engage our students was vitally important. And so we always need to keep it contemporary. We always need to keep it relevant. And so I believe that is so important. Plus, with the mentorship, we have the opportunity to have individual input.
Yeah.
As the students come back, teacher students come back every week, we build upon what we had done last week or the week before or the month before or whatever. So it's an ongoing weekly thing and what I love about these student teachers is they are so good at having their notebook handy and they have their pen and their pencil ready, and they are so diligent at taking notes. And so I am so impressed, which that tells me they're just not going through the process. They really want to learn. And so I just feel like in comparing it with a one-off workshop as opposed to the mentorship, I think there's like a huge difference really. For all of us, when we go to a conference, we take some notes. What happens to the notes later?
It's funny you brought that up because this has been a norm for a lot of teachers, and also institutions. I believe that they much prefer to send their teachers off to like a one-off training, like conference as such. They would regard this as their professional development. But we know that, as you have mentioned, what do they do next with these notes? There's no sense of accountability and stuff like that. That's going to happen with a mentorship program.
Right. I mean, and I'm just speaking personally for me, when I've gone to a number of conferences, I love it when I'm there, and the connections you make are really great.
Yeah.
But there comes the time when you fly back home and you're not going to keep your notes out all the time. You jot a few things down and you remember. But that's why I think the mentorship is just, I'm seeing it in the teachers. I'm seeing the things that we are talking about one week. Like yesterday in the class, what was it? Oh, yes. The noun was plural and it had an apostrophe. And so I just said, what grammatical form is this? Write it in chat, direct message to me. And so right away, I saw, and this was in the B1 class, I saw them go for their notes and they were fishing through the pages and everything. I'm like, good, check your notes. Okay. Now I have to say that one teacher immediately put the answer in a direct message to me in chat, and that was awesome. But then there was like a several minute delay before anybody else did. Okay. The answer was plural possessive. Okay. And so, but that just showed me that, okay, they kind of knew it. They had heard it. They knew the noun. They knew the apostrophe, but putting it in the form of plural possessive, it took a little, help along the way. So that's just one example of mentorship benefit.
And I'm sure if you were to ask them like 2-3 times later down the road, they would be able to get it.
Oh, absolutely. No question about it. Yeah. Because that's how we're building one stone upon the next.
Yeah.
And it's great.
All right. We only have like about 5 minutes left. So I'd like to take this time to, I know it's just so fast. And I always love talking to you, but we still have one more question. We have time for one more question. So let's talk specifically about this mentor to you. that you're doing at the moment? You're mentoring over 500 teachers. Do you have specific goals for them? Like
Yes.
when they come under mentorship with you?
Yes. Yes. There are several. Okay. One involves pronunciation and enunciation. And so and that again is building upon the other sessions and so forth. So pronouncing a word with the right syllable emphasized is one thing. And then making sure, for instance, for the TH, that because that's a very difficult form to say sometimes, the TH, because you have to stick your tongue out a little, and that seems, I don't really want to do that. And so many revert to the T sound instead of the sound and so forth. So that's one thing. And speaking of pronunciation, I have this little chart that we do. And in English, it's very crazy. I understand that English is crazy because here we have words that all end in the ED sound, but they are pronounced 3 different ways. So the T sound, as in refreshed or finished, the D sound, as in played, and the id sound, as in recommended or started. And so they have their little chart in their exercise book. They write the words down as we come across them in our lessons. So that is always great. And also, I always recommend that they have a mirror, and that will help them with pronouncing words correctly.
Wow.
So that's great. Also building on sentence structure. So the pronunciation and enunciation is one thing, but also sentence structure and having the all the parts of speech in the right order, and building up for the B1 or B2 CEFR level, whichever they need. And so those are the 2 main things that there's so many more things, but it's constant learning. Application is the main thing. It's one thing to hear it. It's one thing to take notes. It's another thing to apply it. So in the weekly sessions, that's what we get to do.
Wow.
And overall, it's fun. We make it fun because otherwise, who wants to learn? No, it has to be fun. And then the heart, the mind, everything is open to fun. And we laugh a lot.
That's so good to hear. And you do this on a weekly basis. Like we talk about pronunciation, sentence structures.
Absolutely.
And stuff. Wow.
And actually in the touchstone lessons, what is really seems to be a favorite thing is it's not like I am going through the lesson in a boring way, because I am putting it over on them. I say, okay, volunteer, who wants to read this sentence? Who wants to read, and if someone is a little concerned about the answer, I say, you don't even have to have the answer. Just go ahead and read, and anybody can join in with the answer. So it takes the pressure off, and so students are willing to jump in and read,
Yeah. And it's a good chance for them to practice the language where they get to say it out and stuff.
Absolutely. And what I really love is the students actually love with my correction that I give. They love that. And they will really try to repeat after me if they're mispronouncing something. So that makes my heart just so happy. Any teacher, oh my goodness, when students are really engaged in learning, that is what makes all the difference in the world. So that's one of the things that I love about this.
Yeah.
So
and I think on the teacher's part, it's very important for them as well to receive this sort of feedback, because more often than not, they when they are teaching, they don't get this sort of feedback, like whether they are doing it right, whether they are pronouncing it right. But having a weekly session with you and then you there to help them through all this. Wow.
And one of the things too, it always warms my heart when they say, when I will open it up, who would like to read? And then a teacher will say, may I? And I'm like, yes, Absolutely. Thank you. So it's just great. I love that willingness of them, because they do want to try and they really want to know if anything needs fixed. So it's great.
It's great. Thank you, Miss Barbara, for your time here today with us. And I wish it could be longer, but then again, we have more programs coming up, more sessions coming up. But you know, this 15 minutes has been so insightful. And I believe a lot of teachers, they are more than excited to, you know, learn more about mentorship. And maybe they could come and join you under Mentor to You.
Absolutely would love to have them. Yes. Thanks so much for this opportunity. Great chatting with you, Jason. Thanks so much.
Likewise, Miss Barbara. Thank you.
Okay.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.